Hello everyone, today I want to do a tier list of all the Chucky movies and not the TV show, so I'm just going to put this right here. I'm doing this because he's a licensed killer in Dead by Daylight, which is a game I play all the time on this channel, and I love horror movie franchises. Alright, so the first movie we have is called Child's Play. It's creative, it's new, and I think it definitely deserves to be a true horror classic. Because you always want a movie to reinvent the wheel. Create something new. At least slightly different. I mean, you're still going to have a slasher horror, as basically a whole bunch of other movies have done. But it takes it in a brand new direction. And you have a whole bunch of character development. We learn a whole bunch about Charles Lee Ray. He's the Lakeshore murderer, slasher, whatever. Something along those lines. He is a murderer. The cops try to kill him. He gets shot and then he transfers his soul into a doll. And we learn a whole bunch about him and the magic system. This is something the other franchises kind of failed to do to explore the magic system even more. It's very limited to this movie alone. And we learn that he only has a limited amount of time to get back into a human body with a child called Andy. So he's playing against the clock. And the tone, the fear, everything else is just perfect. Seeing that the villain has something to lose, I think definitely puts a little bit of humanity back into him. I love that the child, he doesn't have, he's just a child and no one really believes him. And I think it's just perfect for a horror movie because he's just telling the truth, but no one believes him. And this murderous doll is coming after you. It's borderlines the unbelievable, but it's just perfect for this movie and I love it. Child's Play 2 is just as good as Child's Play 1. It is a little bit faster paced. They do bring a little bit more humor into Chucky. He's just a little more crazy and silly, has a little more personality than the first one. In the first one, he's kind of whispering almost, I'd say at least 60% of the movie. He just whispers to Andy. You don't really hear him talking. But in Child's Play 2, he's a little more vocal. So it definitely put a little more character development into him. We don't learn a whole lot about Charles Lee Ray's backstory in Child's Play 2. It's kind of limited in some ways, but it does have an epic battle at the end in the factory. Alright, Child's Play 3. This one, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I think it's still a solid horror movie. It has a great ending, a lot of gore, a lot of crazy stuff. But I don't really care about the hazing and the military school, whatever. I can't imagine in a strict environment that people would get away with this stuff as much as they do. I don't know. The thing is with this one, there's not a whole bunch of backstory or anything else that's developed. But it is pretty cool. He does manipulate a lot of people into shooting each other. He does some amazing traps, but other than that, I'd say it's just it's great. It's almost iconic, but it needed a little bit more to stand out. Alright, Chucky, The Bride of Chucky. I'd say The Bride of Chucky is very different from the other three. These three are almost all very, very similar when it comes to the plot. But for Bride of Chucky, it goes into more humor. There's a brand new character. It took a lot of creative risk with this one, I'd say. But I think it turned out pretty good. Tiffany does an excellent job with her role as another villain. And she's just as crazy as Chucky. And a little more freaky in a way. You don't really expect her to kill people, but then towards the end, she becomes kind of like wishy-washy. she doesn't want to be a villain, and then she does want to be a villain. I kind of wish Tiffany just made up her mind, instead of, being borderline on both sides, because she's definitely killed a lot of people, but then she's like, oh, don't kill people. And I don't know, I guess she just wants to turn good. I don't know. That's basically what it is. It's still funny. There's a lot of good moments. It definitely brings in comedy into horror. So if you don't like comedy and horror, maybe you don't like it. But I still think it's really, really good. I do think it's better than Child's Play 3. But I wouldn't say it's the greatest movie of all time. Alright, The Seed of Chucky. I didn't like The Seed of Chucky at all. I know some people like The Seed of Chucky, and the murder scenes were pretty epic, but they have a kid, and the kid is in The Bride of Chucky. He gets born at the very end, and he shows up in The Seed of Chucky as kind of like a teenager. I don't know how young he's supposed to be, actually, because it's just a doll. But he pees his pants all the time, and he can't tell if he's a boy or a girl, so he's kind of like a confused kid when it comes to his gender, which fine. I don't mind that. But it goes into some weird comedy. He doesn't mean to kill, but he accidentally kills, and his father's like praising him. And there's some gross things that happen. I can't mention them because of YouTube's policy, so I'm not going to go into it, but there's some gross things that happen. Yeah, I'm not really into that stuff. It didn't make me excited for this movie at all. I didn't really enjoy it. But there's some cool gore moments towards the end. I'd say they're pretty epic. Other than that, I didn't really care for it. Anyways, we have The Curse of Chucky. I actually really enjoyed The Curse of Chucky. I'm a big sucker for background stories, and we learned a lot more about Charles Lee Ray. We didn't learn more about the voodoo magic or any of that stuff, but it was still very cool to see who he's related to, what relationships Charles Lee Ray had, and a possible reason for why he's a psychopath. So I thought it was pretty interesting. The tone is really good. The music was very excellent. I don't remember in the first 4 movies there being any epic soundtracks like The Curse of Chucky does. But this one definitely was a lot better. The tone was really good. There's a bunch of thunderstorms. It's a dark, creepy mansion. Of course, there's plenty of horror movies that play off the creepy mansion with thunder happening. But I thought they played it really well. There's plenty of jump scares. And I think this one deserves to be up here at the top. The Cult of Chucky. Now, The Cult of Chucky, I'd say the beginning does a really good job. They're in an insane asylum. But Chucky being able to put his soul into multiple dolls kind of gets ridiculous. There's no consequences for his actions. This is one of the main reasons I did not like Resident Evil movies after the first one, is because the main character just becomes invincible. And we get the same thing with Chucky. No reason to care, really, that he could be defeated. There's no challenge for him. He just does what he wants to do, kills whoever he wants. And there's no consequences for his actions. And I feel like that's boring. It gets over the top silly. I think the death scenes are really cool, but I think it's flawed. It's flawed. It's forgettable. The lore is kind of broken. He's too strong. And I think it belongs there. There's some good scenes. I didn't like the creepy doctor. So yeah, I'm just going to put it there. Child's Play. Now, Child's Play is a remake of the first movie. And I feel like it goes into a completely different direction. And it feels kind of like like a fan movie, like a completely different movie from Chucky. So instead of Chucky being a human being that's his soul is put into a doll, Chucky is now an AI psychopath, kind of like a Terminator. And it does a really good job. He is scary. And I think it's a great movie. But it's not the same as the others. I think the others are better than this one. Just because Chucky has a little more character development, a little more human, a little more interesting. Versus an AI, it's just, he doesn't have a whole bunch of depth to him, if that makes sense. You know, more character. He's just a boring AI, but he learns from other people and he just learns the worst things from humanity. So humanity's flaws, he kind of eats it up, learns from them, and then chooses to act on it, on humanity, and starts attacking them. So I think it's really cool. It's a good horror movie, a little bit scary, there's a little bit of cheesy humor, but I think it does an excellent job. So that's everything for this tier list. Let me know in the comments section down below what you guys think. And if you want to go see these movies, 1 through 7 is on YouTube for free, so go ahead and check them out. The remake I watched on Prime. And that's just about it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.